Hi, Anthony. Welcome.
Are you tired of being awesome alone? Well, so are we. So we invited Anthony Vito in to light up our lives so we can all be awesome together. Oh, man. I think we know enough creators that if we ever do this show live at Dragon Con, possibly this year,
Yes,
that
we should
have live creators play this intro for us, in the room. That would be so much fun.
Charles, can you do me a favor? I know. I'm already at the yes, kazoos. I need you louder. I can't hear you.
Oh, is my computer doing that crap again? Well, Tyra, tell everybody about. I'm yelling. Hey, Tyra, tell everybody about our guest.
This is Anthony.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Anthony is awesome. He is a volunteer with the Digital Media Track. He is a tech guru, and his day job actually does stuff digitally with things that I don't understand any of it. So we're going to be talking about all of that tonight, and we will probably issue him a kazoo for when we go live at the Digital Media Track in the fall.
I heard when. That sounds exciting. I was just going to bring my guitar and I can do the little sick tune solo we can do.
I like that. Oh, Valencia. Hi. Hi, Sarah.
It does turn out this time, and it's not my computer. It might be the headphones. Or
it might be me. Who knows? But the last time I tried to turn this thing up,
Yeah, please don't. I'll speak louder. It's okay.
Hey,
I'm sure everybody else is fine. It'll be fine. Yes, Sarah, I hear that Anthony is a theater kid.
I'm not only a theater kid, I'm a theater man. I'm a theater man who works in the theater business.
Is that like the Night Man?
Master of the day, man. Something like that.
Y'all are frightening.
Yes. But yeah, someone who actually got a theater degree and works in the theater. So how about that? And luckily, some of that information I learned that pivoted to this digital media world and what I do here. So yes, this will be my fourth year. As long as I get that acceptance, it'll be my fourth year at the volunteering for Digital Media Track.
Well, if Charles wants to keep on breathing, he'll get accepted.
I'm pretty sure it already.
Not that I'm, violent or anything.
Challenge accepted, Vito. You just wait. Just wait.
He's gonna hang on.
It turns out you're the only volunteer returning this year.
You
Not
know
even
what?
me.
Crap.
I just want to say
Vito
I
and Joe
turned it.
Yeah.
I managed to turn up the volume and not mute myself.
Oh, good job.
I know.
StreamYard Pro.
No.
I mean, be honest though, touch anything. I like touch screens. But it can be funky. Like when they put on the laptops, sometimes there's a button to turn off the Wi-Fi. Why would you do that? Why would you have a button on a laptop you can accidentally hit to turn off your Wi-Fi or kill your camera? It's dumb. So, the fact that you try to adjust your volume, which is a very cool touch slider, but it can kill your whole microphone. That's not cool.
But you see, the problem is the mute button is right here where Tyra puts her finger.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
That's not good. Not good.
Tyra and I are twins.
Upside down.
I know. And so I have this, whatever you call this thing that I have.
Boom stand.
A boom thing that's tearing up my desk. So I have a microphone stand on the floor that we're going to try. Oh, Anthony, tell us about that cool coffee cup.
Okay,
This is okay. So if you guys are creators and you have a podcast, a show, or blog or whatever, go on to fourthwall.com. Do me a favor. This is the best place to go ahead and either put your merch or create merch for your show. And this is my beautiful Bay Area Examiner mug that you can buy at bayareaexaminer.com on Fourth Wall. And anybody can put their logo onto a cup and put it in their own Fourth Wall shop for their own merchandise. Big fan of that. Please sponsor us. I'm kidding. I'm going to say that a lot.
Use code Vito for 20% off.
So,
yes, exactly.
But do you have a referral code for Fourth Wall?
I can maybe look. I can see if we do.
Before the end of the show, we'll make sure we have that.
Mm-hmm. But, we've designed T-shirts on there, specific T-shirts for certain things that happen. We got the mugs. We've designed some other merch. They've got a lot of stuff. Like for Christmas, they had Christmas sweaters, which was very fun. We didn't do that, but they'll kind of do certain. You can do shoes, I think plushies. It's a lot of cool merch. And you can always demo it before you go ahead and do that. No free ads, but fourthwall.com, if you are into the merch game, and it does host your website, you can have subscriptions and do that as a like a patron alternative. So it's a pretty cool website that's expanding and also has a very vibrant Discord for any questions that you have.
Ooh, well, we know how much I love a Discord.
Yeah. Where do you buy your merch? Like, where do we buy your merch?
Oh, yeah. If you just go to BayAreaExaminer.com, it's got everything there.
That's right. It's the home of the athletic supporters. Got you.
If you, too, are a fan of University of South Florida athletics, follow the BayAreaExaminer.com. Very niche. Very niche.
So, real quick, we need to do this update.
What update? We have an update?
Yes. It is Shelf Watch 2025.
Oh. Yes, I have a sound now. That is awesome.
It's still metal. It's still white. It's still up.
But the boards are sitting in the garage waiting to be done. And in his defense, we did win a trip to Daytona for last weekend. And 3 free nights on a beach was wonderful. So, it didn't get done. Maybe this weekend, maybe not. We don't know. But we do know that Valencia's planning to go to Pod Jam, and that makes me happy.
Yes. It's going to be exciting. You know what? Who else has on their calendar is Mandy from DragonCon.
Oh.
So
hopefully
Mandy
we
Collier.
won't suck. We won't. It'll be great.
No, it's always going to be good. But that's not what we call the talk about. So Vito, no, here's
Hi, Vito.
Well, I find funny because Vito is a volunteer for the track, and some people sometimes pop up and say, "Oh man, this is really what I want to do," and some people like Vito go, "I like it all. What can I do? What can I?" And you're just everywhere. I think it took. This is how many years you've been volunteering? 10, 12?
Yeah, sure.
Like forever.
And dog years, 12. Yeah.
But is this what, third, fourth?
Yeah, this will be year 4.
Yeah, okay, year 4. I thought so. Because it took at least 2 years for me to find out he does lighting for a living. Like, he might have dropped it around me, but you know how busy and hectic and noisy it is at DragonCon.
You know, we really need like an information form.
We really should. Like, hey, what is it you ask very specific questions. Also, psychological exams would be helpful.
What's your love language?
Yeah,
Anthony, what is your love language?
Lumens and watts. We're talking about lighting, right?
Yeah. So last year you started talking about, hey, you didn't say. I think somebody else went, this is what Anthony does for a living, lighting. So man, I'm having trouble with the lighting. I was like, no, I did not know that's what he does for a living. Otherwise, we're like, hey, bud, I need your help. So this year I was like, hey, man, I need your help. It's like, and you've been in the room, you know what it looks like. So he sends me a picture of this like 500-person auditorium with this huge stage and all this professional lighting. He's like, yeah, I can do that. I'm like, not in Galleria 6, you can't, but I bet you can do something awesome in Galleria 6.
Yep. And that also happened to be a panel event. So it was an event with a moderator and 5 panelists, and we did the lighting and everything. I was like,
that's my dream stage, dude. That whole setup was my dream setup, where it's almost kind of in a half round and it's open and everybody's just relaxed on couches and chairs and
as long as I get a back pillow.
You have to. You have to be relaxed.
Short people.
Yeah, this has been
no reason to live.
There's been a handful of times where like I have my hands in a lot of different industries and a lot of different like technologies that someone will have an issue with something. I was like, oh, how about this? And they go like, oh, what do you know about that? And I'd be like, here's all the poster boards of actually you can kind of see all the postcards of all the theater shows I've lit in my career. So that's something I could do. I just didn't want to be presumptuous and be like, this is how we should do this. But I should have mentioned it.
In the digital media volunteer track. Rule number 1 is you don't talk about volunteering in digital media track. Rule number 2 is you don't talk about volunteering in the digital media track. Rule number 3 is when you do volunteer, tell us everything you love to do. Be presumptuous, please, and thank you.
That works.
Please tell us when we're doing something shitty and we need to do it better.
Now, you definitely do the full gamut, right? And it's I love that you did send me that photo, because in that one photo with my background, I knew instantly the skill level that you had and what you did, because I could talk about it. I think you'll get this, Vito, and I'll try to explain it to everybody else wants to see you get it. Is I could say I lit and ran the audio for a community theater production of Oklahoma. Yeah, I see your face.
I'm
You don't
shocked.
be negative. But it's like, because what that is, everybody, is a gymnasium with a spotlight. That's all that is. So there's levels of lighting.
It counts, though.
You're
Surprising.
so nice, but you know what I'm talking about.
Very, very surprising. I performed in a community theater production of Oklahoma. How about that?
Oh, Ma.
Oklahoma. Yeah. I got so tired of that song. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I've done okay. But that this levels it, right? Somebody goes, "Oh, I'm great at sound," and what they really mean is they know how to use their phone to record their vlogs or whatever. So when you sent me that picture of, and I'm not kidding everybody, it was a theater. It's he knows lighting. So tonight we're gonna talk about lighting all the way through a professional level, but even come down to, actually, I'm gonna spotlight what you've got going on right now, sir. Just in your room alone, you got this awesome electric blue vibe going on, but you stand out with a nice little light. So let's start with what's behind your computer and camera. What kind of light? Oop, I removed you. That's the wrong button.
Don't put me up. Hi.
That's the wrong button. Sorry. There you go.
Oh, flip
Yeah,
them
no,
around, too.
you have to be in the middle of us. That's a rule for our guest.
That's
there you
always
go.
my rule.
Okay. It's his rule.
It's a Charles Tyra. We're just sandwiched together. It's like a big hug.
It is.
I could have phrased that a little better. Yeah. So the funny thing is, with
HR.
yeah, we talk about lighting, and I think I briefly touched on this in another show with you, Charles. There's film, TV, video lighting. It's a very different world as live theatrical lighting. Same with sound. So like the one thing about when you, like as you mentioned, like, hey, someone knows sound. Well, if you know to work in a recording studio, that doesn't necessarily mean you know live audio. Same with, if you know live audio, doesn't mean you know recorded. So it's kind of the same with lighting, because when you're dealing with cameras, the camera, instead of an audience being your focal point, the camera is your focal point. And the quality of your camera is going to adjust based on what type of lighting that you have. My setup's pretty simple. I just have a little fan light above me that's one of those hue color changing lights. So I can go on my phone and I can go ahead and change the color. So in this case, I did like this nice little electric blue, but I can go and be like, I got my little color picker, and I can go ahead and start changing colors. So if I wanted to, hey, look, now it's a little red.
Yeah.
Now it's a little green.
Yeah.
But as you see, the camera's kind of taking what it's seeing, because I have another key light on me, and white balancing to make me the focal point. So no matter how saturated I get that color, it does get a little washed out based on what that key light is. So I just have a little color changing key light above that kind of creates this. I have a little LED white. Right now it's blue that just points up on this back wall that kind of goes at my little USF logo right here and my poster boards. And then a Elgato, because I'm a big old fan of the Elgato product line. Sponsor us, please. It's a Elgato Key Light Mini. So really and truly, when you do lighting, you think of 3 or 4 points. Right now, I just have one. If I had a second one, I'd want to do it in the corner. But right now, it's coming straight forward. So that's my point. And then I have what we call a top light or a soft light. That's the color changing light above. So even in live theater, we do that the same way. Depending on what my fixtures are, you want to come at least 3 or 4 different directions, one from the top. And then when you're doing front light, you want to come from a 45-degree angle, which is called the McCandless theory. And then also straight on is your fill. So that way you get nice, even
so I have
fill on your front.
Two have basically 45 degrees, but one should be more in front of me. The other should be 45.
If you have 2, 45 is where you want to be. If you had 1, then you want to be straight on. If you have 3,
I got 2.
45 and then a key light up front, it would be the way to go there. So it just kind of depends on what you have and also what instrumentation you do have. So in this situation, my quote unquote top is just what the color coding is. And then my front is the key light, which is giving this nice warm glow.
Hi. For those of us who only understood about half of what you said,
and that's what we're here for, honestly.
That's what we're here for. Okay,
Tyra,
so
I'm the same way. I'm like, what?
I don't understand lighting. I mean, fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me.
Mature stream.
Oh,
stream.
we're not supposed to be. But anyway, so question. So that light that's overhead, is that your fan? Does it have a fan with a light color changing thing?
It does, yeah. So
Can
it's just
you
literally just a little fan light.
can you link it to me? I don't care about our audience, but later send me a link. I'll share with our audience because I like them.
Oh, for the Hue lights? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
because
if you just type in Philips Hue, they have every different type. This is just your standard retrofit, and it's also LED. So you're, you know,
yes.
So
if you're using any other type of lighting, you're saving power, which is saving money.
No, it's super true because I have a weird what are they called? Torch lamp? I don't remember. Anyway, but it's a circle and it has two halves of the circle, and that's what's over there. I need to figure out over
what you do
here.
have. And you
But
have
I
a
have
ring
nothing
behind
above.
you that you're not using, and you don't have
do.
any overhead fixtures at all.
I do, but it looks like crap because I have.
Yeah. But
So here,
but
wait, I'll show
Vito,
you.
did you replace the fixture or did you just put a Philips Hue bulb in?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's just a Philips Hue bulb. It's just your standard Edison
okay.
twist, your normal light bulb, and it goes right in there. Philips, so like the it's called Philips Hue. It's just that's what they're color
Yeah.
changing.
And that's
That's active to
HUE
the
for
phone.
everybody at home.
HUE, yeah. So they have just the standard white ones, so just clear whatever your standard is, so you can control it from your phone. That's really the benefit. It's Wi-Fi enabled, connects
Yeah.
to a bridge. Then they have the color changing ones, and they have a lot of different types. So it's like whatever your screw base fixture is, C4, C6, what have you. They have different bases like that, and they also have like ribbon lights. So like if you wanted to do uplight or lights behind your TV, you can do that as well. So it's a little pricey. It's not super cost effective, but this separating from like other color changing fixtures, this has the luminosity and the foot candles that you would expect from a normal light. So even though this is saturated blue, it still function as a light, where some of them would just be like, oh, it's blue. You're looking at the blue in the color, but it's not painting your room blue, if that makes sense.
Not at all, but I'm going to go with it.
Yeah, so I'll put those in the chat. Philips Hue lighting. Yeah.
That sounds awesome. I will try that. I've been pretty happy with this one. I finally got the glare off my computer, which was important because it was horrible. And I've played with my buttons now, and I don't know what I'm doing, and you can't see me. So y'all talk
Now we
amongst
can still
yourselves.
see you. It's just it's like the power went out. It's okay.
It's like-
Yeah, it's like a little bit.
But
And
so yeah, I'm going to redo my whole studio here soon. Like just, and I'm bringing my couch back, but I'm going to sit on it to do my podcast. And so I was thinking about getting some of the LED light strips to put on the back of the couch just to do some uplighting behind me, up the wall. Because I'm behind here currently. That is the test run. So everybody, when you're talking about the Philips being not super economical, they're a little pricey. It's an investment in your studio, which I
Well,
guarantee
they last
you.
forever.
Yeah, which I guarantee you, Vito invested in lights before he did microphone in his studio. I'm sure, because I know I would the other way. I got the nicest microphone and the crappiest lights because I was more about sound. Because that's what we do. But that behind me is these little cheap plastic boxes, obviously put together for display purposes, whatever. And then these strip lights off of Amazon for $30 maybe, and maybe less than that. And they really are cheap, and they don't do great. As you can see, can't even see it's a purple. It's supposed to be like orange. You can't really even see a definitive color on them. But with what you're doing with this Philips Hue, that's sometimes you do get what you pay for, right, Vito?
Oh yeah. Well,
Look for
yeah.
sales.
So sometimes it's hey, and kind of what I did was you build a list of things that you want in your quote unquote perfect studio, or like it depends what you're doing, because when you first start in podcasting, you're doing a lot of audio, and then there was a distinct pivot to video that kind of happened about 3 or 4 years ago, kind of coinciding with the pandemic, where people then started wanting to do more TikToks, Reels, and on the video side.
Yeah.
So some people invested a lot in this audio equipment, and you go, oh shoot, now I got to do video. And now like my standalone microphone's not enough. I need to get a lav. So creating like a wish list and then figuring out what the pricing is in a normal day. And then you look at, like, I can almost tell you every time there's Black Friday comes up, or there's a deal that comes up, I take a look at it and go, I'm going to save $80. Yeah, I'm going to buy that now. So you just kind of plan that out, and you kind of upgrade little by little. The camera I got, Elgato Face Cam, was actually a Joe recommendation. He put that into our Discord. If you're not part of the Discord, join. He mentioned this and the panel lights. And he's like, hey, they're on a deal. So I got it. And the cool thing is like I can adjust. I mentioned just the lighting. I'm not going to change the lighting here. If I go ahead and adjust the camera settings, that's super saturated. The camera is now adjusting what I'm doing. This is super sharp. Ooh, that looks fun.
Yeah, that's crispy.
You get that contrast in. You can kind of level that out, or you can make it a little blurry. So there's a lot of stuff you can do with the camera. That's just straight from the camera, which is really interesting. And you can also play with white balance, which is adjusting to what it's either receiving, or you can do it automatically. And that gets into like photography and videography, which isn't 100% my forte, but lighting depends. I mean, sometimes I'll do a show where we light the production and it looks great. And then we have a videographer come in and say, hey, we're going to do a photo call. Can we go ahead and just add some more lights? I just need it brighter. And it's like, well, the people who are coming to see the show are the ones who are paying for the ticket. So our job is to make that look better. Video's got to kind of have to operate around that. So sometimes, it just depends on who you're, what you're shooting for, and then what your audience is as well. And if it's both, then you have to kind of work around if I'm doing a live stream for theater. And that's why live streams in theater are few and far between. It take a lot of production hands because it's dealing on the theatrical side and then also dealing on the film side.
How, maybe you don't know the answer to this, but like Fathom events where you go and you watch a live recorded theater program, just as if you were there, like we saw King and I not that long ago. How do you think they light it for the live audience that's in this sold out arena that they recorded in, but also recorded it to where I felt like I was watching it in real life at the theater?
So for the most part, if it is, hey, we're filming this for our movie audience, that's generally then told to the audience that is there. And there probably is some lighting changes that you may or may not really notice. But for the most part, the film crews have it's really on the film end where they have really great white balance on their cameras. They have multiple different angles that they're getting at. And they came and prepped this way before during the whole tech process, so they understand what they're looking at. So they know like when the really, really dark parts are, and they make sure that the dark scenes or wherever can work on the film end. So generally, it's they're working in simpatico. In some instances, you'll see that we're going to bump this up a little bit, but the audience understands, hey, I'm here for the during the time that they're filming, and for them, that's actually a pretty cool experience. I'm not sure if anyone's been involved in a show where they're doing live filming, but you see like the big boom lifts and the big jib lifts with the cameras kind of scanning the crowds and everything like that. It's a pretty cool experience. So even if the lighting was a little different, I wouldn't care. I think that's kind of neat to be there, and your reaction could be on camera. And maybe there's a camera shooting at you, and you'll see it on the TV later on. But yeah, watching theater live streams is great. I wish they would do more of it, but that's why it's not like every show has one, because it takes a whole separate crew and a whole separate thing to operate. And then of course, if you're going on Broadway, you're dealing with also the union crews, because film and TV and theater are very different.
So with bringing it back to some of the things Tyra was asking there. So we talked about if you have one light more or less dead in front of you, right? If you got two, both of them at 45-degree angles. And I'm not a huge fan of the older, well, now they're older. I mean, not that old, but the older big ring lights. I just don't like. I like my little squares that I have from Newer. Or I like the Newer brand. That's the one I buy into.
I have
Newer's
a Newer
great too.
square. It didn't fit on the stand they put with it.
Oh yeah. I know it's a problem. I gotta
figure that out.
It can't be. Yeah. Here's a pro tip, everybody, and this is literally how I said it, because I was so terrified before I even knew Tyra's story, like when I first got into it, that I'd buy lights and then later try to get stands and they wouldn't work. So I always just get a kit. It's usually a double light set with the stands. But are you saying that the stands they put with the kit did? Oh man, she is so flustered she can't even say four-letter words.
This is I'm trying not to. Sugar Plum Fairies. This is what they said. This goes with this. Buy them together.
Oh, see, mine was, when I said kit, I mean literally.
Them.
Yeah, it was packaged was what I bought.
Yeah, they didn't have a package. I actually thought it came with one, and then it got here, and I'm like, what the do I do with this?
Yeah.
So, but eventually it'll be over here, because I actually like my, whatever this thing is, torch lamp that's over here.
Torch lamp, yeah.
It's really a fake, I'll have to get a picture of it. It's a fake ring light. And I changed my camera setting, and if it makes you motion sickness, please let me know.
Nah, you're fine.
It looks fantastic.
It'll follow me.
Yeah, I saw that. It's pretty cool. I went down and came back up. It was pretty cool. But I have also been told like to have something behind you. So I like that depth. I love the depth of video. We're watching like our friends Dave and Michelle.
Oh, Dave's
right?
got really good lighting.
It very much looks like a very professional studio. It just looks so cool. And I'm sure he did it very simply. But so Vito, how do we achieve that? Oh man, it looks like you're in a studio versus well, okay, my brain will always tell me I know I'm in my own little office studio thing. But I want your brain to go, holy crap, that is very professional and amazing looking. How do we do that with lighting?
So you mentioned that backlight. So back, top or back, it's kind of above you. If you do back, the whole goal is you're trying to get that kind of halo look around your silhouette. So once you add that, and again, it doesn't need to be seen. So like, especially you kind of look at what your shooting screen
so
is.
Talking about
so
like
if you're looking
more
at this,
like over me, like
yeah, exactly.
versus what I have all the way back on the wall, light.
Yeah, so it would kind of be above you, kind of at a 45 degree. That's what we call kind of a back diagonal. So that would help kind of create that silhouette, that solo look that will create that halo and kind of puts that in studio look. If you've ever seen when they're doing like a news shoot or like a TV desk shoot, if you actually see them zoom out, the rig that they have, it's all front light diagonal, and then they also have that back, call it kind of back top. It kind of depends on where it's at. Doesn't need to be like behind you facing, like if my hand's the light. It's kind of doing more like this.
Okay.
But that kind of creates that really nice halo look and really kind of creates that the 3 dimensions. So that's what if you have 3 different lights instead of doing 2 diagonal, 1 kind of top back. That's really where that would come into play. You could do the front key light as well, but sometimes what that means is you kind of want either a different color or something separate in the diagonal ones, because you don't want 3 of the same color, because you don't need to spread that much on you. Now, if we're doing a panel like we're talking about doing like Gallery of 6, then you kind of want to make sure it's nice and spread across the entirety of the panelists.
All right, you're there's a lot of you're throwing so much information. There's a lot of information. Go ahead, Tyra.
I'm so sorry.
I have a question. So I don't like a light coming down on my head because I have blonde hair and it makes me look bald, which is not a pretty thing for a girl. So what do I do to make sure that that doesn't happen? Because that's why I've gone with side lamps, because the upper lamp was not pretty.
A lot of it's just dimming in that case. I'm not sure if your lamps is it just on or off?
Yeah, unfortunately, the one above me is just on or off, and I will not look up again because that was weird.
It pans right up. Yeah, so a lot of that's just dimming because sometimes from that top, if it's fully on, then you kind of see that. And like for me, you can kind of tell I get a little no
glare spot.
I'm looking at. Yeah, glare right there. So that's when you want the dimmable. So the hue lights also are dimmable, which is really nice. So dimmable lighting is really what's going to help you there, because sometimes you just want, let's say everything else is at 50%. You just want it like at 20% just to kind of give you that nice silhouette and halo.
Stop, camera.
So, but do you want in the 2 instances here, you've got a light on the wall behind you. I've got a light on the wall behind me, but Tyra doesn't. So if you did the halo, would it be better to not have a light behind you on the wall?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a separate, the way I kind of look at like that is like the back wall is its own separate screen. So it's theoretically I have kind of a table with knickknacks on it that's also shining up onto. So you're just kind of creating another, and that's always going to be some semblance of a saturated color. So it's just kind of creating a break in the world. So it's, here's my face and here's me, and this is me looking like, polished and in a studio, and the back is just kind of a backdrop almost. So I wouldn't do it in lieu of, it's just kind of a separation. And that way it's something interesting. And like you said, just kind of polished. It's not just, hey, this is my wall back in my guest room or whatever. It's like, this is what my studio wall is. And a lot of people will have like a bookshelf of knickknacks, or I think Volunteer Tyler has like all of his
the pop funkos.
Yeah, he has the pops.
So it just kind of creates kind of a backdrop that's just kind of more of a scenic element than anything.
So once shelf gate ends and there's an actual shelf here, that's a real nice shelf, and these are moved up, should I put lighting in there? Like I have some like strip lighting that I was thinking of illuminating it with.
Yeah, since is that a closet or is that just kind of a
It was a closet. It now houses the what I call wants to be a sofa chair and a half.
okay, but it's an opening, right?
Yeah, it's completely open. We took the doors
Cool.
off and everything.
Yeah, I think like if you have strip lighting, pointing in down or up, that would actually look pretty interesting because then you again kind of do what I'm doing, where you just create that kind of colorful separation, and it just and especially if you have like paintings back there and it shines up on that, that kind of creates something interesting too.
I remember a long time ago, and Fader Monk is right, and we'll get to that in a second. Ray Ortega was when we first got into video. He was giving everybody some tips, and he shot kind of in a kitchen kind of area. So he was talking about, and people keep saying key lights, but that really is. We'll get to key lights in a minute. I want the definition, like a real person's definition on it. But he talking about the 45 degrees, whatever. But the distance behind him was like a room. Like you go through the dining room into the kitchen, and over the counter, he just had these little lights. And so he turned those on. And so there's darkness between him and the lights, and it almost looked like it was faded because the focus was on him, which goes to Ray Ortega. He was using a DSLR through an adapter at the time. So it looked really cool. You know how you can go on Zoom, or we actually right now, probably on StreamYard, we can do a fuzz my background. It was a natural effect of that because it was so far back with the darkness. And you're talking about something like that, just specific people, not a full wash. Like I was trying to show off my Nosuke there, but it's never quite worked with the lights that I have. But you don't want a full wash on it. You just want, like in Tyra's case, it would be just some little strip lights underneath the shelf or just something hitting the wall.
Yeah, exactly. Because if you just have your standard room light, it's just kind of washing the entire room. And that's what soft lighting is. Someone's mentioning softbox too. That's, different types of instrumentation. A lot of that, once we get to that
Dave.
part.
Yes, that's Dave.
Get out of here.
Okay,
Dave's actually
It said Fader Monk, but I couldn't see the pictures I put on the screen. I was like, wait a minute, I know that beard.
I know that
talking
cool
about
glasses,
you,
beard,
sir.
hat guy. So and a lot of it's just different, and we can get once you start getting into physical instrumentation and what they're doing, soft lights, hard lights, softbox helps with that as well, diffusion panels, that's just the kind of differentiation of the instrumentation, and that's like 2.0 or 201.
I think you can kind of
what's a soft box? Can we start there, please, sir?
If I may dumb it down, because that's
yes,
what
please.
I like
I mean, tire it down.
Because no, not tire it down. Charles and tire it down. So like even on the newers, I have this fuzzy white panel that slides in front of the lights. That diffuses, right? So a softbox is really a cloth version of that, typically that goes over bigger lights. That has a white that, or I guess whatever other color. I'm assuming it's always white. That just instead of making a harsh bright light, it just spreads it glowingly.
Yep. And so it's a diffusion. A softbox is a physical instrument that you can get that kind of already provides that for you, and a lot of photographers will use it if you're just trying to bring your own lighting.
I've got some photography stuff like that, but I didn't know.
Yeah. So like my
I don't know what it is.
And the good thing is like there's a lot of devices now that cater towards what we do. So creating, streaming. So like the Elgato light panel that I have has a diffusion panel on top of it. Yeah. So there's softbox.
Yeah. I know what that is.
And
hi, Michelle. Sorry.
How big it is, it depends on. So in lighting, it's a lot of trigonometry because it has to do with distance from your point source, height of your point source, and how big it needs to spread. So in lighting, that's how in theater, that's how we know, hey, if we're 20 feet above, this is the instrument that we need to get a 5 foot or 6 foot, 7, whatever, 10-foot circle. So in what we do like in the creative world, they kind of create these different devices that say, hey, this is really good for your desk. So it's going to be within, 3 to 4 feet, and then it's going to spread where you need it to be. So it's not shining on your entire room.
So you're saying you would look for something that's maybe a desk setup that somebody built, somebody being like an Amazon or whatever. Somebody who like, hey, we went through and told you, if you want to do a desk setup, this is kind of what you buy to help get you that lighting.
You did not tell me there would be math.
Yeah.
I don't do that either.
That's that's literally, it's funny because
I did not like trig.
When we do theater lighting, it's all trigonometry, so it's kind of fun. Now it's all easy because we have the instrumentation, so we know what gets us a 10-foot area when we do our areas for theater. So we know what degree instrument we need to reach that and how far away it needs to be. But like you mentioned, that one set he has lights all the way across the room. That was intentional, knowing, hey, look, I'm going to be 10 feet away, so this is what spread that light needs to be. And same on the height, which is why you get a lot of these. I don't know, my arm's kind of off screen. You get a lot of these boom arms that can go 8 feet in the air and they shine down, because that ends up being your full body and where it needs to be based on what, again, instrument or what lighting fixture that you have. But when it comes to like just kind of dumbing it down to the streaming part of it, you can kind of see, hey, this is what that good spread is. Because like as this is pointed right to me, I'm 3 feet away from it. I'm going to back up real quick, and you're going to see how quick I get out of the light. Like,
yeah.
So that's kind of where you're at there. So it doesn't shine the whole room, but because of that, I can get that saturation on the back. Kind of creates a little something different. My setup's not perfect, but it's a start.
It looks like you're doing something similar to what, thanks to Joseph Hard, I went to I think it was Senpai Gaming, and watched a video that he has on, like, except he has like almost an open, not full warehouse, but it's a much larger space. And he's like, yeah, well, just put this light bar over here and it looks cool. Like, yeah, I don't have quite that much space to play with. But he did say, essentially you want a bright on one side and then a lesser light, so it kind of has that shadow. There's that tracking for you there.
Yeah, and that's why like you want that 45, because then you can kind of create that separation, because you can have that light side and that shadow side. And I mean, also like we're doing it, you just want to be able to see our faces. But if you're doing anything that has dramatics in it as well, that's how you can play with intensities to kind of get that look. And sometimes you say like, well, I don't want that light shining straight up at me because it's like that campfire look. But sometimes that's intentional. So that way you create those shadows on your face or from the top.
Halloween episode.
Yeah. You have a Halloween episode, you kind of create something that changes those features up a little bit. So lighting can create mood and can create all sorts of different emotions based on what you're trying to achieve. And we didn't really get into color either, but like right now when we do this, obviously white balance is trying to take over. We're just trying to make our features look good, but you can create, different colors and create that saturation that way too.
When I think I know what you're talking about, but I want to bring it in. When you talk about colors, you're talking about temperature.
So color temperature or physical color as well, like the hue lights or that. But
okay,
color temperature,
hue light, blue, purple screens. Yeah.
I can actually show you, because what I love about the Elgato also from my phone. So right now I have kind of a warmer tone to kind of like warm up my my features. I can actually pull that to about 7,000K and see how it gets a lot cooler.
Yeah.
So
cooler is that soft lighting, that bluish light that we see, versus hotter would be more the daytime sunshine. Yeah, the yellowish orange.
It's yellow.
And sometimes if you see lighting that has a K at the end, that's Kelvin. That's how it's measured in. So this is closer to 3,000, which is warmer. The higher you go, the cooler it gets. And again, the camera's doing a lot of work by white balancing base. I'm giving it a workout right now. But you can tell the difference between that cooler and that warmer. I like that warmer look, especially if I have blue on the background. If I have red on the back, like when I play D&D with my buddies, I'll do red because like, oh, we're in a battle. When he says roll for initiative, I have a button that I press that goes red, and that's red on the back. So I'll do cool there so you can kind of create that tension. It's pretty fun.
I like it.
Sometimes he tricks me. He's like, roll for initiative. All right, who opens the door first? I'm like, oh, come on.
So I do love about these newer lights that I have is they have two knobs, one for the cooler temperatures and one for the hotter, and you can mix both. It doesn't give the greatest light because it's actually separated in rows. There's one row of hotter and one row of cooler. So like this one is only on the hotter side over here, just to get that. Cause I don't like to be whited out, but I also don't like to look like I've been bronzing my skin. So I have the warmer one over here, soft, and then a little bit of a mix of warm and hot, warm and cool over this side, a little bit brighter to bring in that. And it works out okay, but that's just something you have to play with, right? That's just something you have to figure out. Just like a microphone, you have to figure out what you like to sound. You have to figure out what you like, and not just what you like with the lighting, but how your camera sees it. Because I'm using, through other means, I was able to get a very nice 4K camera that I would not have gotten on my own just for digital media. Yeah, it's something I use with One EMS, and I take it for interviews, and we got an investor, and fortunately, I mean, it's like a $3,000 camera. That is not something I would have for my studio, But because I have it, I use it versus my $100 Anchor, which is just off screen here. It will look a billion times different. Like it's just, it doesn't white balance well. And so let's talk about white balance and what that means typically.
Yeah. So your camera is picking up, I don't want to use the term noise, but picking up information in front of it. So a lot of the times on your cameras, it's going to have an auto white balance. So it's going to attempt to take all of the information it's receiving, how much light it's getting inside of its lens and sensors, and creating something that's going to be, normal. But I can turn automatic white balance off mine. You can actually see, so that's auto. That's not auto. So it's actually taking a little bit more of that warmth on my face. You can see the color in the back. And that temperature is also, the camera is picking up in Kelvin as well. It's kind of doing the same thing that the lighting was, but instead of it just being the physical one light, it's taking the entirety of the information that's here. So if I go a little bit warmer, if I go a little bit cooler, you can actually see the total difference of that white balance. So for the most part, if you're like shooting film or video, you figure out what environment you're shooting in and create a white and understand where that white balance is to get what you need to get. And lighting matters a lot outside too. And that's why some people say, you go during the golden hour. That's where you wake up at the crack of dawn to get that look.
Or
and then
sunset.
Kind of work around that. But again, a lot of this is like advanced. So if you're just being like if you're doing on the streaming and the creative end, automatic or auto white balance works for the most part. So you see that's kind of what auto is. But I can actually get a lot more dimension if I go ahead and manually do it. And this is all with the camera hub on Elgato. So if you get the Elgato face cam, Elgato, please sponsor us. Then you can go ahead and adjust all of these. If you just have like a standard webcam, so like the 4K camera you have, all those adjustments are in those settings as well that you can play with.
And I can set it for 3,500, 4,000, cloudy, fluorescence. The theater that we work in on Sundays is where the camera's a little bit older. It's a Canon XA20, I think, or 25. It's at best 1080, but it at distance, it doesn't do black balance and white balance the greatest. So I just have to kind of live with it. But here, being this close, I can play with a bunch of different, just dial it in to where I like the smoothness of it. And for me, not being a lighting guy, I feel like after about 5 minutes, I go light blind. And what I mean by that is like if you smell something for 5-10 minutes, you won't notice it anymore, right? It just builds up. And for me, it's like, change this, change that look, change this, change that look. After 5 minutes, it's just like nothing looks right. And I have to walk away and look at something different and come in. And I imagine, since it's obviously your passion, you're born for it, it seems like you can actually dial in lights for a much longer time and still see the difference.
Yeah, and that's so on the film end, a lot of times just saying like, hey, this is what looks right. This is what I as a user would want to see, and it's not too distracting. So it's like, again, when I'm looking at, I like contrast. I like to be able to focus. A lot of times, like if you kind of close your eyes a little bit and wherever you're whatever's the brightest thing, that wants to be the focus. So it's like in theater, a lot of the times it's, I want to create a nice saturated stage, especially in a musical that's interesting. The dancers and the performers still need to be seen because they're creating a world. The scenery needs to be, so I need to put lights on that. But I want to focus on whoever's singing that solo. So you're kind of right about like if you're looking at it forever, it almost is. It's hard to kind of tell. But I also just kind of look at like, what do I want to focus on, or what does the audience want to focus on? Because like if there's a cat back there and everyone's focusing on the cat, they're not focusing on the content. Now sometimes the cat's the content, and so everyone thinks that's cute as well. But like if the cat's back there in the blue, it just kind of looks like blending into the background. I'm still talking about whatever I'm doing, whatever my show is, being awesome. And then
that's right, together.
That at least kind of creates that. It's all about like, where do you want the focus to be? And in theater, sometimes the focus is, hey, the light's over here and that dark area over there is where we're doing that set change. That's the theater magic. It's like you're not paying attention to what's happening over there. So that's kind of the separation there. But yeah, it does after a while when you're in these long, 12-hour tech days, it's like, all right, how much green can I look at Elphaba again? It's too much green. Is that too much green? Is not enough green? Different green?
Not enough green.
And it's hard to play with the brightness, like actual lumens brightness, because I can stand. I mean, I've worked on stage and stuff, so I can stand lights, as long as they're like directly in my face, I can do it. But I find that like here, if I do it too bright, I just look washed out. So it's very honestly dim lighting that I have that tends to work pretty well for this camera.
Yeah, a lot of times with how close you are, like I think mine's at 5%. You don't need to go that hot. If I brought it at 100%, it would look like I'm on the surface of the sun. But that's just because of the proximity it's at, and it's also it's nice for the power because it's good that it has that in case you ever needed it. Because let's say I'm blasting across the wall, that would help. But yeah, sometimes it's the intensity, and that's why it's kind of plain. It's not just they try to make some of this gear as easy out of the box as possible, but there's still a little bit of experimentation that it takes. And frankly, I think like especially if you're trying to upgrade your studio space for your TikToks and Reels and what have you, YouTube videos, people are going to understand that and be okay with that as long as the content's still there. So, don't be afraid to play with it and say, how much try this new setting and see what people think, and then go, oh, I'm too afraid to put that out because I look a little more orange than I wanted to. Because, hey, maybe that's going to resonate a little better, being a little warm than, like you mentioned, being super washed out.
Tara, I know you have a few more questions.
I played with my lighting while you were talking and turned on my second light. You can't see it. It's over there.
Exciting.
That's good.
So, and I actually use the camera and my monitor because I have a Mac Studio, so it does weird things and it's fairly nice. So I'm going to get lights for underneath the shelf. I'm going to try to get one of those Hue lights after I replace the fan that my husband runs into because he's too tall. And Charles would run into it too.
Yeah, sure.
So I need to get probably some box lighting, the soft box thing. I got to figure that out. And that would go in front of me. Is that true?
Yeah. So
Okay.
we probably want to look at something because you don't have anything in front of you, right?
Nope, just my monitor.
Okay. Yeah, so we'll probably look for a nice soft light that can be right in front of you. And again, if you can spring for it, 2's always ideal, but 1 will work.
Okay.
And they do make it. The ones I showed on screen were the big ones. They do make them in small form factors for sure.
Yeah, because there's some I got to transition this mic boom thing, tearing up desk, got to go away.
Yeah.
So when I do, I was thinking about putting in lights too. So we will see. But I'm learning things. I'm still confused by all this Calvin and Trig and shit. But but at least I feel like I got my 2 side lights going pretty good now.
Perfect. Yeah, and you're looking great. I mean, that's fantastic. When it comes like the Kelvin and all that, it's just how you measure it. It's the same when I teach sound, and it's like what decibels are and what hertz is, and it's logarithmic, and it's like don't worry too much about the science of it. That's in the second class. The first class is just that's how you know if my level's hot or not. A lot of times, just the measurement of it, right?
So now, we're both in education in some form or another, working for the lovely educational systems of our state. Do you actually get to teach people how to do this?
So I'm not faculty. I always try to make sure I say that.
That's always
But
good.
I do. So we have labs. So it's like we have faculty
Okay.
that teach the courses, and then there's labs that occur. So I am the light lab supervisor. So
Awesome.
I don't say I teach, but I help present. I like proctor is probably the term. Help present how to do the lighting that they learn in the class, and then
You do the
that
actual
as well.
hands-on things.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then I teach in that regard to kind of help them in what we're doing in that particular day. And kind of same with sound. We don't necessarily have a sound lab course technically, but the people who do learn sound, we teach them how to do things in our various venues, and also kind of steer them in, hey, this is what we're doing here to accomplish these shows, these tasks, and this is what you're going to find out in the real world too, if you work in various venues. Because again, when it comes to like lighting and sound, rock and roll is very different than doing a straight play in a black box, different than doing video and doing streaming. So it's all slightly different. It's all a little bit of a pivot. But yeah, so not faculty, but I do work with students and with the other faculty.
I have my brother-in-law actually does the same thing for his college that I can't
Excellent.
remember the name of, but I will find out because it is also in Florida. So
Interesting.
Nova, Miami.
he's down in Port St. Lucie, and I just can't remember what the school is, but I will in just a minute. So just ignore
Gotcha.
So a thought I had is I'm not sure if they have a recommendations list on Amazon, but if you made a wish list, not for people to buy it for you, although I'm sure you would be happy people bought you stuff, but for people to go, hey, where can we find, you were talking about such and such, you recommended if you go and build yourself, wish list for the Bay Area Examiner and just link it on your site. That way you can steer people to go, hey, this is a soft box and this is kind of what I look at. This is the lights I have. This is the hue. And it makes it easier for people to go see. And I just thought that'd be a very helpful tool that could be happening.
That's a great idea. And one of my favorite people would post their desk setups and then say, hey, this is the gear that, because I love seeing desk setups. I don't know, I'm a nerd like that. Like, oh, this is the lighting that you're using. These are the computers, and even just like the monitors that you have and the microphones. And then they'd post like, hey, this is what I purchased. Like, I always think it's really cool. And sometimes I'm like, I'm sorry, that monitor costs $2,500. Shoot. Okay. Well, I'm making that kind of money, but it's like, it's kind of neat to see that. So yeah, that's not a bad idea. I might go ahead and do that. We can post in, post in the description here on the page, and then also post in the Tech Talk and Discord.
An affiliate link so you can make some money.
Yeah, absolutely. Affiliate link.
That's
and
good.
there's got to be a recommendation. There's got to be a way to do it. We can figure it out, because we could also put it on the Dragon Con link tree.
You have a link tree with your. Do you have a website, Anthony?
I don't personally have a website. That's actually something when Tyra's not super 100% busy. I need to like figure out how to market myself and my side business, because BayAreaExaminer.com is a partnership I have with a few other founders that created this once we were hosted by SB Nation, and we went independent after they unfortunately folded us. So we took our following and built it independent. So that was always neat. But I do have an independent, because I'm a podcast producer, lighting designer. I do have my own independent LLC that I run that through. So I've never really figured out a way. They're like, well, how can I contact you about doing work? I was like, good question. I don't have a website or how to put a reel out or anything like that.
So immediately
we'll figure this out.
Linktree is your starting place. You're
he has one.
.com is important, but because you can say, here's my lighting reel, here's my this, and you put individual videos on it, all those kind of things. It's something that needs to be done. Let's talk about lighting the gallerias, because that seems to be tough. Because I kind of want to get an idea of what you think we need to get. Because I'm honestly tired of being there in the moment, and the energy of the moment. Everything is great, and I feel like, man, this is great to my eye in the room, because rose-colored glasses being what they are, you're in the happy energy, the positive energy. It looks great. Then I go back and look at the photos. I'm like, these cameras are not catching what I'm seeing with my eye, and it's killing me, because it looks okay. It does look okay, but not what I want it to look like. So
yeah.
And
I'll kind of pivot, because I actually went to the comments page. Sarah Rose. So Vito basically saying, don't do what we did for Subspace Rhapsody. So the interesting thing about, and like working in ballrooms, working in hotels, there's like entire businesses that just do that, because it is difficult, because there's not a lot of rigging points. One thing I've noticed at Dragon Con, some ballrooms, especially the ones that have like the performances and the DJs, have lighting rigs and real lighting consoles and real engineers who work on all that. And I assume that they're all local and they come in as part of a Dragon Con package. Like, hey, you're going to go ahead and do these, and we're going to make, because that's like real equipment that they use. And it's either hotel driven or it's Dragon Con rental driven. Yeah. Yep. So when you're working in a ballroom, or in our case, the Galleria, there's not rigging points up top, because it's all drop ceiling. So you have to kind of create lighting trees or get some sort of truss in the back.
We have newer lights on stands.
There you go. Exactly. So the downside is, because of that, we would put them at the front row, but that creates it's a real harsh angle, because we're kind of in front of the table and we're at the front. So like realistically, we kind of have to actually put them in the back. So we would need to get some instrumentation that can do that. Like I mentioned, the throw distance can get that throw to get that nice front light, and probably only going to take one or two to be able to get that lighting where it's at. I do know of a few rental companies that are in Atlanta or in the Atlanta area. And one of my colleagues that I worked with, who is a renowned lighting designer, is actually a adjunct faculty at Kennesaw State. So I might reach out to and be like, hey, what are your rental companies that you use? Because here's what we're looking at. And that might be something that's like, hey, Dragon Con already rents this kind of stuff. What else is happening there? But to me, it would be, we need two, not to get into the weeds, two ellipsoidal ERS front light fixtures that we can shutter. So we're only going to get that box where from the table all the way to the heads. So we're not blasting everywhere. So we can kind of create that. and 2 in each would be able to get that front. The top is the difficult part because we don't have a lot of space, and that's really the hard part about that. And we don't want to kind of have this giant light just kind of hang in and doesn't really hang from the drop ceiling. But having those front lights would help that.
Funnily enough, somehow I inherited a big light boom that's probably about 8 to 9 feet tall. It's heavy, and we still need some sandbags on it. But we have one light boom that we could play with.
Yeah, so
and a lot.
Yeah, then we just sometimes just about renting that light just for that weekend and see what that is. So that's kind of what it is, and then we then having some semblance of LEDs that are backlighting behind the panelists too, because you can kind of create different colors. We can do the purple for Dragon Con, or maybe if it's a specific show, they can do red for what have you. That would kind of help create that contrast. So a little bit of both there, I think, would be the starting point. It's just finding them and making sure we can get them there. And
we've done. And I love Claus Storm. Same soup, different bowl. Came in. But we've done some uplighting. With I'm talking about the cheapest basic lights. Joe Arge brought his stuff in. I brought in these little $25 ones I had for different things to try to just offset some of the black at some of the theaters I've done where the guy's standing in front of this black curtain. And but I love aperturerent.com. And for many years, before we really got some equipment that we needed, like that's now owned, the track owns it, we would go and rent, and it's cheap. I'm just looking at one right now. It's an Aperture Storm 80C light. Just forever. It's just the first one. I picked 7 days. Okay. $56. That's it. That's great. $56. So we could easily, and DragonCon's willing to work with us on a wish list. So I mean, buying lights like this would be very expensive, but it is definitely something that maybe people could. If we knew we had a list of like, hey, we'd like these 2 lights for the back, these lights for the front. I know I'd put in some money. I'm sure there's other people would chip in. So it's not a donation to the track. It's not anything, but it's just, hey, we want to help out. I mean, I know it's a tough economy. Do not feel bad if I say this to you, but for me, knowing that I can help out Dragon Con, $56 is easily the cheapest thing I'm going to do all Dragon Con weekend. I can throw that in, right? Type of deal. And there's just so many different settings, so many different lights. And that's where I got the cameras from. It's just so nice and cheap. And 4 foot, look, dude, there's a RGB WW LED pixel tube light that's 4 feet long. And 7 days is $73 with protection.
And see, that's great. That because like the rentals are always going to be more costly. It's really expensive to get these lights.
That's like 2 drinks at the Pulse. That's so right.
Exactly.
Lost term. That was awesome.
Yeah, that's good.
I mean, now I'm going to look at this. I'm on this website now. I'm going to take look at that pixel tube light. That's really freaking cool.
Right. Yeah, it is.
There's some good stuff here.
Up our lighting game. We upped our what is it called? Layout last year.
Yep. That's the theme of this year's digital media track. We upped our game, so up yours. So
we need to rephrase that.
No, that's brilliant. Put it on a sticker.
That's a good phrase. I think that's a good.
Jeez, I'm going to be explaining to people. No, that's not what he meant.
Just up your game.
It's just a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek humor.
But, can we go back to the hissing and kissing? Okay.
Spicy.
You missed that episode, Vito.
Everybody should go back and listen to the hissing and kissing episode.
Here's what I always want to do with the digital media track from a tech standpoint is I want to give what I got. When I went to New Media Expo, the one thing that they made sure the con made sure to do was have a booth that had a very professional audio setup, and all you'd have to do is sign up. I'd like to sign up for 30 minutes. I'd like to sign up for an hour to sit down and do, and so you get the vendor hall noise and this, and they had this microphone, the ILPR40. They had 2 of those, had a really nice soundboard, really nice headphones, and it was just that, I know I'm just getting started, but this is a goal I can achieve because listen to how I sound right now. I sound like I'm a professional, and that's what I want to give. It's not just in sound, but lighting. So when people come in, not just, I know about lighting rigs. I know about lighting trees and all that stuff. That's, if we needed to do that, I would do it, but that's not what I want to do because that's not obtainable in your studio. I want somebody to come in and go, oh, how'd y'all do that? It's like, yeah, no, this is something you could do on a, but I mean, you have to either save up for whatever, but it's something you could achieve in your own studio.
Mhm.
And it just gives you that goal of knowing you can get there. And that's where we've been lacking in the lights for honestly forever. And we do what we can, but I think this year Vito's going to bring the AV game because he's Anthony Vito, right? He's going to bring
That's the one. Yep.
Oh,
You see, I was born into it.
lasers.
Sorry.
We definitely need more lasers.
more lasers.
And some
Oh,
fog
okay.
machines.
Oh,
Well,
we can talk lasers. We can talk fog machines. Okay,
We need to
these
talk-
these apertures look pretty cool. We're gonna talk. We're gonna talk, Charles.
Yeah.
We got to
these
get
are pretty
people
cool.
decent headshots. That's one of my goals. 'Cause
Yeah.
So many of our people have crap. for
Some
headshots.
person kind of pitched that last year. And I don't, for some reason, at one point I thought it was Vito, but then I was like, I don't think it was Vito. But somebody pitched it as like a workshop. Everybody leaves with a headshot.
Yeah.
And it
Ooh,
was,
yeah.
it just didn't quite fit into the flow of everything because we were limited on time and space. And I
Yeah.
didn't know them. And I didn't know the quality or what they're really going to bring. And that's kind of hard to decide. It's like, because it's 50-50 in my world. It's like, hey, we should, and I would be grateful for anything given to me that's free. Like, hey, I came in, it's not the best headshot, but cool. I learned something that's free. But the flip
Yeah.
side of that, someone comes in is like, I stood in line for 20 minutes and this is the crap you get. You know, if I know what you're bringing to the table,
Yeah.
I know we're going to avoid those kind of things. Right.
Well, and we
Oh, yeah.
need things like audience shots. Like that's the thing that I don't have. I don't have me and an audience or me on a panel.
Mhm.
That's a good shot.
Yeah.
So
I realized I took one. The funny thing is like, and then everyone always forgets like, oh, we forgot to take that last selfie at the end of the panel. Shoot, I did take one shot, and that was on Sarah's panel when we did the AI script read. I was like, look at all the people that came. This is so cool. Yeah, no, I mean that's a good idea. I know, you know, we've pitched some stuff in the past. I'm with you. I like the idea because like there is that awe factor when like you walk in and go, oh, they got cameras and they got a real rig, and it's like everyone. Like I was shocked at the amount of people who saw. Like when I was walking around the con, volunteer for digital media, like. Wow, we really love that you guys like, you know, you stream and then you have all these polished videos. We wish we could do that. And then I always tell them, like, yeah, we do that in house. Because everyone's like, oh, it's not Dragon Con. It's like, yeah, we do that because we're digital media. That's the point.
see,
So it's like it's shocking to me the like 3 or 4 different people from 3 or 4 different tracks kind of reached out and said like, oh, we really admire that about you guys. Pretty cool.
Aw. Well, and I've been told numerous times by people that our track runs so well because of our lovely volunteer staff, one of which is behind the scenes by the name of Kaz, who we always say hello to. And she just said, maybe I should make a pre-show checklist. Yeah, we probably should do that. I mean, you know, we started
Why are you
off.
saying maybe, Captain Organization. There's no maybe in war. What are you doing? Come on. You got this, girl. You know.
You know, we didn't
Kaz is
know that this
incredible.
was going to be. Oh yeah, no, Kaz is incredible.
I also love because I remember you mentioned like you do light. Like how come you didn't mention that? I remember we were doing something. We were talking about the creating when we were trying to draft out the spaces and all of that. And Kyle's like, oh, I can do that easily. Like what? Oh, that's so cool. And it's like you kind of put everybody, at least in the 3 years that I've been here, everybody's skill sets are so. Like everyone's got such diverse skill sets. Like bring them all together. It's like we can make a pretty kick butt team. You know, we come
should
together and do it for
start
5
this.
days, but we could do it year round.
Lord, that was a long post.
Yeah, I was answering Klaus Storm about.
Okay.
I should have just waited and answered it. But basically, like, is photographer a volunteer position? Because trading a pass for good shots is easy. And the first year I did that was as a friend of mine was recruiting locally, and he came out for one day and he stayed for 3 hours. I was so mad at him because he took a volunteer position to basically do that. Then Dave and Michelle came along, and Dave
is awesome.
The balance comes down, and Dave is awesome. Dave took lots of great photos last year, amazing work, and it comes down to when you got 2 rooms always running together, possibly a third or even a fourth sometimes in the ballrooms, and people want to enjoy the con. That's where the issue is. Like, we really need a whole team of photographers to be able to catch that. Maybe that's the next step in upping our game is. We got lights, we got the sound, we got the video. Now we're going to have a team of friends of the track because truth be told, we only have 9 volunteer spots. And I'm considered a volunteer. So one of the spots is me as a director is there. Tyra does not get a volunteer spot because she doesn't want it. But because she's got legendary pass and all this other stuff going on in pro and everything else.
I'm not going to take I'm not going to take a volunteer slot from somebody.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You know, Klaus makes one. I'm a photographer, but I rarely use my gear because I'm so busy, so I never get the time. Giving up a day would be exactly. You get it. Yeah. Giving up a day, but possibly, you know, not giving up volunteer pass. But maybe there's something else we could do. Maybe there's something else we could figure out of a thank you, of some way to say, hey, we're gonna sign up as a photographer. We'll get 10 or 15 good photographers who really want to participate, and they go, I'll sign up to take pictures of this panel. And I mean, all you really need is the first 5-10 minutes, right? Because you're taking the angles. And I mean, I watch Dave. Dave's a pro. He'll come in, he'll take the angles, and he'll sit down and watch the show. So you can do 5-10 minutes in one room, flip over to the next room, and you're good. And then, but you still have to have 5, 10, 15 of the people to do that, because at some point somebody's going to want to see this panel over here, or be at that party over there, or it's there. Yeah, I love that. We need to start making shirts for the track, because that needs to be our slogan this year on our shirt. Thinking caps activated. I love it. So yeah,
and we have a new logo, and it's so cute. So
it is very cute.
If you saw the promo for tonight, it has our new logo on it. He's a cute little dragon.
Do I have that in my email somewhere?
I don't know. It's on Facebook.
Okay, I'll pull it up because I can share it on the screen. And I want to show you something kind of cool before we get out of here.
I'm not done yet. We got to talk.
No, you're good.
We haven't even talked microphones.
This is lighting. We lit up. You light up my life. So I thought we were just talking lighting tonight.
Okay, fine. Okay, I got my boxes out.
I'm prepared.
See.
Look, you can't talk Chiefs and Eagles in the same conversation. You can't talk microphones and lights in the same conversation.
Not. I love you, Chiefs. I'm sorry.
Go Birds. Oh man, don't clip that. Please don't clip that. I'm a Bucks fan.
Anthony Vito.
Oh man.
You're my new favorite volunteer. Oh my God.
You're now my least favorite.
Oh,
and there goes your social promo.
No.
It's okay. My God, I mean, I like some of these.
It's just sometimes you like to watch Tyra burn a little bit. That's all.
I like the surely you're prepared for mics. Right?
Yeah, surely.
I know, and that's what I have. So that's good. And I brought, because Charles and I both love, I can't find, it is newer. My newer mics.
Oh, you got those are fancy. I love those.
Well, and they were cheap. I mean, they're under $100.
Nope, that's not.
Hey, look at that.
There he is on the bottom left.
So that's from Bad Carrot Studios that won the logo challenge this year. And I dig it.
I adore it.
So cool.
I adore it so much.
I do want to show you this real quick, Vito, and we can keep talking. But,
he can't hear us, so we can talk about him.
I know I can't hear myself, can't hear you, but I went to a Marvel Studios estate sale because they film out in Atlanta a whole lot. And I
get out of town.
This was Marvel. This was DC. It was DC. They did say, we won't tell you what shows that they exactly came from, but it was Gotham, and it's all Batman related shows, basically.
Okay.
So I got my couch, which is not here right now. I got a table, but I got this.
So anybody want to talk about Charles?
Well,
so Anthony, rock god of podcasting.
I'm going to have to aim the camera because I've actually attached it to the roof. So let's see.
He's attached it to the roof, ladies and gentlemen.
That's an official WB can light from the studios where they were shooting Gotham and whatnot.
That's
it's
pretty cool.
actually got the WB logo on it.
That is cool.
And it's like 3 bajillion lumens or something. It's stupid bright. So I don't plug it in.
Those old rock and roll par cans that they have, generally like 1,000 to 1,500 watts. Like plug it into your wall at your own risk.
Yeah.
That's also the downside of lighting fixtures. They take a lot of power consumption. So when you're in a ballroom situation, it's a lot of just counting your wattage.
Yeah, no, that
Back
that
to
was
math.
without a DMX controller that has no adjustments on it. And you don't know if it works or not when I bought it. So I went and brought it home and plugged it in, and it's like, it works. And it's meant to be.
And he didn't burn the
30 feet
house
up in
down.
the air. Yeah,
So that's good.
Probably 1,000 to 1,500 watts of power in those power cans. That's the old rock and roll stuff. That's cool. You got the WB one though. That's something you'll always have.
Yeah, I forgot
wattage. I like that.
It's got the C clamp, so I clamped it to one of the beams up there, so it just looks cool. And I forgot when I tried to get it down. I was like, oh yeah, I got to take my tool and undo the clamp so it won't fall off. But yeah, it's got the whole WB logo on it, and it's got a Batman logo on it. It's really cool.
That's neat. I like that.
So,
that's a straight up theatrical light, and you use it for film too. So WB, that's a good buy. I like that.
Yeah, I think it was like $30. That's all it was. Cool. Look, I'm telling everybody, listen, it really, if you have the opportunity and the funds, because you're going to spend more. It's like going to Disney World. You're going to spend more than you really think you're going to spend there. Go to an estate sale that is a studio. Atlanta has them 2-3 times a year. I did go to a Marvel one, and I did see 2 orcas from Black Panther 2 that they had set there. You know, they're big, huge orcas. And then a subway car that they've used in Daredevil and a few others. I really wanted that for my backyard, but it's $1,000. I didn't know how to get it home either. So, but
that's the hard part. They're like, you got to take it away.
Fit in Shane's truck.
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. Neither would the orcas. It's like, you got to have a real trailer to get that out of here.
I mean, we have a trailer.
Yeah.
Not that big though.
Yeah, it's not a real, obviously it's a movie set subway car and cut out so they could do filming, but it's the size of a subway car. It was huge. I'm like, that would look so cool in my backyard. Put the fire pit right in the middle of it, and it wouldn't be comfortable because all you're doing is sitting on subway seats. But yeah, we buy way too much stuff, and you'll get cool, fun, everyday things like in my backyard. Tyler, when you come over for the and Vito, if you keep your butt in town till Tuesday morning, you can come to the after party too. We always have an after party at my house, and this year we have Marvel Studio lights across the backyard that are really just those Hallmark TV. Well, they're just like any Hallmark TV movie you see where it's that cool backyard with the big bulbs. That's what we have, and I got them for like $20 because they were just selling them. We got a huge 20 by 20 what they call not concession when the food on the sets, whatever. One of those tents for that. $10. $10.
So you've got to invite Shane and I to this next time.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Tell us, we'll come.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I just
Aaron finds out about them.
I have an announcement.
Oh.
My dog stayed by himself for 2 hours today and did not tear up anything.
Ooh, that's very exciting. I like that.
I'm so proud of him.
Our
dog has separation anxiety. Y'all have met Dobby with his socks, and this was it's been a very expensive 2 years. I'm just going to say that. So the fact that he can probably stay by himself when I teach my marketing mayhem class for the honors department on Wednesdays is going to be great.
Marketing mayhem. I love that.
It's, let me pull it up because I will screw it up. It's an honors class, so it's 5 hours. It's not meant to be like crazy anything. It's just supposed to be fun and to learn about a topic. And it's called Marketing, Magic, and Mayhem, Taylor Swift, the NFL, and New Heights Marketing.
Ooh. Okay. Can I take it as a non-degree seeking student fully remote?
Audit it? You want to audit the class?
Yeah, can I audit a class?
It has 13 topics, all named after song titles or song lyrics. And we're covering everything from merchandising to the NFL salary cap to terrorism in Austria. And it's going to be a blast. I can't wait.
Wow.
So it starts after spring break. So, but my dog is going to be
cool stuff.
Thanks. I'm excited about this because in honors you get to do things that you can't do in a regular class a lot of times. Like the first place I ever taught social media was in an honors class. And so this lets me teach about a lot of like parasocial, toxic social media, bunches of stuff that is definitely current and part of our landscape and part of marketing. And I get to do it in this fun setting with really bright students.
Oh, you said toxic social media. That's definitely a different topic for a different day. But
oh my gosh,
how prevalent?
It's basically just redundant statements right there. It sounds like.
Yeah,
social media and toxic.
it do be.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else you'd like to hit? Because I know, kind of got excited about all the different lighting things, Tyra. Anything else you'd like to talk to Anthony?
I'm good. I'm fine. It's great. I've learned things, so that's awesome. You know,
and you instantly put it to work, and you got
did.
your lighting adjusted, and
this
it looks
one's
good.
at a 45. This one's kind of at a 80. I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of just a relative based on, obviously we're in a desk
fine.
situation. It's not going to be perfect, but
Well, and it's the cool. I mean, it's my coolest light ever. It's a floor lamp. That's what we call these stupid things. But yeah, I love my floor lamp.
And I like that it's 50-50. So it's a ring, but you can actually have two different colors. You can have one on, one off, one in angle, where the bottom says, she was showing it to me when she first got it. It's really cool.
Yeah, you can adjust it, and it has settings.
even better. It's got a full remote. Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Looks like my Roku or Amazon remote.
It does, actually. I mean, but it works much better than the fan light. So, but no, I'm good. He's going to have to come back after Shelfgate ends and get it light, and you'll have to tell me what I've done wrong.
I just have to stay a couple extra days and just do some site visits and
you can do
hang out and check it out.
We would even put you up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you offering to help light my studio, bud? Yeah, what do you need? What do you need to make that happen?
Let's go.
I got
We'll come a couple days.
We'll feed you homemade barbecue.
Yeah.
Ooh, even better.
Yeah. My wife will cook you lasagna. I got some scotch.
Oh, okay. Now we're talking.
I'll find you some broccoli, man. What you got?
We're talking. I like that. I'm gonna try to see if I can stay that extra day because I always leave Labor Day, and it's always like mad dash out, and I always miss the fun party saying goodbye to everybody. So I'm gonna try to make that work this time around.
Now, have you got a hotel room?
Not yet. So sorry, I lied.
It's gonna be fun.
I do because I'm with some friends who I've been to Dragon Con for 16 years with. Is it really 16? Yeah, that are legacy. So I room with them, and so hotels are all settled in.
That's nice. That's nice. I'm very happy to have that as well as a director. Like I never have to worry about hotel. The con takes care of that for me.
I have to worry, but we have.
That's why I love that we're in the Hilton because that's where I stay, and I just walk downstairs.
We're at a hotel I shall not name because it's wonderful and nobody needs to stay there anymore.
Yes,
they're finding it out. Says the corgi's gone the way of the corgi. Yeah, so we're across the street a little bit and down, and anyway, it's a nice place. I rode the elevator with the doctor
down the hill. Oh, now everybody knows.
No, I'm at the Ritz.
So there was a year when Airbnb first came around. Not first came around. It was like 2021 or whatever, 2018. Anyway, early on when people were starting to pick up, like, hey, we can rent our space at our apartments for Dragon Con. There was somebody that it was too small for the Botch Boys. I was trying to help them find a space, but like, man, I wish I could just grab it because it was literally right there in the midst of everything. Balcony, you could watch the parade from there and everything else. And they were only wanting like $50 a night. And it's like, but if you get it and you do well, usually Airbnb is almost like a legacy. You can just go ahead and book it again for next year and keep booking it. It's like, I don't know what I do. Tyra and Shane would have taken it. It was like, other than that, at the time, I didn't know anybody who could take a small space like that and make it work because most everybody knows like Botched or like yourself, where you come with friends or whatever else,
I'm too scared of Airbnbs, VRBOs, anybody, because so many people have been canceled. That I
heard some horror stories
at Dragon Con.
During Dragon Con. So Clawstorm says he's staying at the Westin for the first time. So I've stayed at the Westin before. Here is my top tip for staying at the Westin. If you're checking out on Monday, put your bags in the car on Sunday. Because getting the baggage down at the Westin is the absolute worst of all the hotels I've stayed in. So
I could see that.
It's a great hotel. I loved it. Didn't have a lot of elevator problems or anything like that. But if you're not staying till Tuesday, if you're checking out on Monday, make sure you take your bags down if you can on Sunday night.
Even at the Corgi, where I love staying there. I mean, it's the furthest walk from everywhere, but it's a flat walk. Even there, we have a slight issue just getting down the elevator on Monday morning to get the bags out. But ultimately, because it's so laid back, and it's probably the most removed hotel from the groups of hotels for Dragon Con. But yeah, I stayed in the Marriott one year. trying to
That's the
get
crazy
down
one.
trying to get down. Well, I mean, I've never stayed at the Westin, so I don't know, but trying to get down on Monday just to get to the finalized panels and everything. I was like, I'm gonna have to walk the stairs, and they put me on like the top floor. So I'm like,
Yeah,
I don't want to walk the stairs, even though it's all downhill.
Marriott goes super high. I came a day early before our. That's just because like we were loading in early the next day. So I was like, I'll come a day early, and I stayed. I had some points, so I stayed at the Marriott the night before. They were partying on Wednesday night. It is like Dragon Con was good to go on Wednesday night, and it was like, what the heck? It's already crazy right now. So I was like, I got to stay at the Marriott one time, so I enjoyed it. It was fine, but I can't imagine staying there for the whole con because that is where all the action is. It is nuts.
Then that's why they put us on the top floor, just kind of removed. But it still was a little bit of you're going to. Well, I have a box fan that helps. You're going to sleep to a little bit of. I mean, it's really distant. But I heard, and Klaus was trying to stay at all of them. Weston's
get all the Infinity Stones.
When you stay at the Hyatt, try to get in the International Tower if they have a room that's not Legacy, because that's the easiest elevators. Outside of that, there's another tower on the way into the food court. That would be the other one, but the rooms are smaller. If you stay in the main tower, that's where the elevators are a problem.
Oh, okay. Good to know.
I know way too much.
I love that.
Not for Dragon Con, for a Metallica concert. I did stay at the Hyatt, the International Towers.
I love the International Tower. It's great.
Those are better. I don't remember Good.
Oh no, sorry. You continue. I was about to pivot.
I was gonna say I don't remember who the female celebrity was. I think it was Katie Sackhoff. I'm not sure, but they were telling a story one time pre-panel, and it's like, yeah, they were in the Marriott, but they got put on the third floor of the Marriott, and I don't think it was intentional. I think the hotel kind of screwed something up, and they're very nice about it. They had to talk to Rachel or whoever's like, can you please move us because we can't sleep. You know, you cannot be in the first 5 floors in the Marriott and sleep.
They don't stop. It's a party all night long, which is great when you're not staying there, but when you are.
Well, like we like to go back, find some friends, sit in the bar and drink. That's our goal. And the hotel that we stay in closes the bar around midnight, 11. And then they don't care if we stay there and have a rotating group of friends that comes and sees us. It's like, I'm old. Come see me.
Nice. Yeah, that's a lot easier than
and the Westin bar is really good. You can actually get into the Westin bar and have a drink at it. A lot of
not the Hilton bar. It's tight.
Yeah, the Hilton bar is too tight. I don't like the elevator situation, though. I heard it was better this year because they had somebody running it. I do like the Hilton restaurant that when you walk in, you can usually get seated and get food reasonably fast. And we always have one meal at the Marriott breakfast lunch buffet because it's dead to the world. It's in the middle of everything, but yet you have this peace and calm and quiet. So those are my top tips for food.
Yeah, that restaurant's good. The elevator situation was a lot better when they had kind of someone operating, because if it got too full, they would just go all the way down and be the person to say like, hey, no more on. So that worked out. What I was going to say before is I've been going to Dragon Con, staying at the Hilton for so long. It was back when the game room was in the basement.
Oh yeah, it smelled.
I love that. Oh yeah, but we would play games and that was very exciting. But again, I'm glad that this track is in the Hilton basement because, oh boy, it's easy to get up and down.
Kloster, this is the Hilton game room. I kind of do too in a way. The Westin just has not been. Well, it's in America's Mart, whatever.
I stayed in the Hilton 2 years ago, and it's okay usually because I'm getting up first thing in the morning to do panels and everything, but going back to my room at 10:30 at night or 11 or 12, and I'm exhausted, and the line for the elevators is around the corner into checkout and check in. I was like, I don't want to wait an hour to try to cram into an elevator to go to my room. That's what I'm like. I'll just walk to the Cortland. I never have an issue with elevators at the Cortland, except for maybe when everybody's trying to check out. That's about it. But all right, we are going to jump out of here. But I do need from you, Anthony. I need you to make a wish list. It doesn't just have to be Aperture Rent. Talk to your pals, like you said, you might, and see who they like to rent from. But get us a lightning wish list of go nuts. You'll go, this is what I think would be perfect. And then maybe a hey, if we can't get perfect, here's the minimums of what we need. And then we're going to up our lighting game this year. It's going to be amazing. So I want to say a quick, big, and not quick, a very long and drawn out thank you to producer Kaz, who is always kicking butt and taking names. And she's in the background giving us notes and following up with things. And she's
and
always
picking
taking
on
care
Charles, which is
I think it's called wrangling. She's trying to wrangle Charles, which we all know is not the easiest job in the world. So, so it's going to be great. And then Tyra, where are we going to be in 2 weeks? Really a week and a half.
A week and a half. We're going to be at PodJam Atlanta. And you can get, if you go to podjamatl.com, I think is right. Tyra,
that's it. PodJam ATL is the name of it.
PodJamATL.com. You can go there. And hopefully you'll have better luck than I just did. There goes it loaded. So I was like, whoa, that's not good. Tickets are free, but they are limited because we're in a smaller venue. It's going to be so amazing. I cannot wait. Charles, tell me the name of the venue because it's
I love it.
Location 800 East Studios. There
that's
it is.
It. And it literally is on 800 East Street in Atlanta. So it's 800 East Studios.
It's awesome. And there's going to be 3 podcasts that are going to be live. So what we're trying to do with PodJam ATL is give you that live experience with an interactive audience with your favorite podcasters out there performing, or maybe a podcaster you haven't heard of before. So if you get thirsty, bring your own beverages because have a cover though. We can't have them flying around. But it's a whole new experience. We're really hoping to grow this and do this again in the future. We've got Davy the Scapegoat, your One Life.
What, yes. Like WON One Life.
Okay,
yeah.
Their logo confused me. Hip hop.
It's a little confusing on the logo, yeah, but Your One Life.
Your One Life. There it is. Tyra could have figured that out.
Which, by the way, his thing that he does, he did it live when I met him when we toured 800 East. His thing is he'll ask for a few different words and he'll make up a rap on the spot with the words you gave him and relate it to the show that he just did. So that's going to be interesting.
That's awesome. And that's Your One Life, or is that Hip Hop Can Save America?
No, oddly enough, it's Your One Life and not Your Hip Hop Can Save America, but yeah.
Well, there we go. But if you're looking to find out more, first off, you can go to podjamatl.com and get all the dirt there. Plus, reserve your ticket because remember, limited number. But the other thing is next week on our lovely Be Awesome Together is going to be our own Bobby Blackwell. If you all know him as the man whose name I screw up every single time I put together a flyer, or at least he does. He's going to be actually taking over Be Awesome Together and interviewing Mark Deal from Podcast Atlanta. Or is it streaming?
No, it's Podcast Atlanta.
Podcast Atlanta. Charles, who you know and love, and myself, who hopefully you also love. But Bobby's going to be interviewing the 3 of us talking about PodJam ATL. And Valencia knows 2 of them of the podcast that's going to be happening. So that's very exciting.
I love that.
Cool.
I wish there was a portal I can step in to go to Atlanta super quick.
Well, you know what? There is.
There is.
It is going to be live on all of our live streams right here. It's going to be on YouTube. For DC Digital Media, it's going to be on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. So you'll be able to watch it live. It's going to start at 1 p.m. Eastern on Saturday, March 1st.
Yep.
And you can if you can't be here, well, you can be sorry and watch online. It's okay.
That's it.
Charles, the king of the transition. That worked out perfectly.
Good job.
Well, I also forgot to promote it, so you set me up quite nicely, sir. I really appreciate that.
I was ready. It was on my notepad. I was ready.
Good for you, Tyra. See, she's so organized.
Amazing.
So please join us. And Anthony, where can they find you on the web?
So there's my fun little link tree that has a little bit of everything that I do. Obviously I mentioned I'm a lighting designer. I'm operation manager at the University of South Florida's College of Design, Art and Performance. I am also a podcast producer of over 1,800 episodes across 53 shows. Find them all here. And go to thebayareaexaminer.com. If you care about USF athletics, I'm sure nobody here does. That's okay. Go support us and what we do. Also a volunteer at this beautiful digital media track. I don't talk about myself enough, so Tyra and Charles are helping me do that. Talk about all the stuff that I do. And we're going to light up your life and light up the con because it is February 19th. And by goodness, it is going to be August and September around the
So you
corner,
know it.
and I got to put my panel submissions in. Actually, I haven't done that yet.
Oh yeah. So update.
Oh.
Go for it,
Okay.
Charles.
What's your update?
My panel submissions are closing March 30th, which means Tyra actually needs to do something.
That's exactly what I was going to say. End of March, we're shutting it down, baby. You got to get it in.
I know. We're so ahead of every other track. Like the other tracks are thinking, "Oh, it's March. Maybe we should start thinking about it." Not the digital media track. We have our stuff together and March 30th. So, Anthony, March 30th.
March 30th.
Anthony, our main goal of Dragon Con, if it doesn't happen before then, is to replace that picture on your link tree because that does not look like you.
It does not. Is that the one? Is that like my professional headshot that doesn't look like me at all?
No, I would not. Like if I met that man in an alleyway, I'd be like, "Who are you?"
I can see that.
I mean,
Yeah,
you're a much hipper dude than that picture shows. I'm just gonna say that.
Yeah, I got to update that. Yep, that's totally me. Yep, that is my professional headshot that I just stick on there because I got the green and gold tie. But I got to do. Yeah, so we're gonna get better photos.
We're gonna talk.
Yes, I like that idea. We're gonna do the whole brand specialist because I don't know how to brand myself.
I can help you there. We should just use you as the example at DragonCon. We could just brand Anthony. We could pick 3 people beforehand.
But if
and
we
do
call it branding Anthony, we got to do it at 10 o'clock or later.
Truth.
And then there will be scotch. Oh my goodness!
Oh,
It's
yeah.
And
like,
we all know what happens when Tyra has scotch. Claustrum does have a comment about your link tree. That's not a link tree. It's a link forest.
Nailed it. Very true. It's just a lot of.
That's a bad dad joke right there. Instead of having scotch on the branding, Vito it'd be brandy.
Oh, that's great. Oh my gosh.
Bad.
Oh, that's a good. That should be whoever does the branding panel should just be called that. After Dark Brandy.
Yeah.
We could have an entirely different conversation. So Charles, where can they find you on the web?
I am everywhere you want to be. You can find my link tree is RGOP42, and it's a bit of a link farce as well, but I try to really put it to everything that I do. And One EMS is really, really taking off for me and doing a lot of things. It's my 501c3 that I'm learning a whole lot about how to manage a 501c3 because I don't know anything about that. I just want to make sure we stay legal and stay right and change the world of EMS in the United States. So yeah, that's basically it. Linktree will get you everywhere. And the one that is not promoted on there because you got to be really, really particular, but it is Lycan Solomon's Odyssey. I am a executive producer of that comic book. I don't have the book right here, but I do have the 3D Wolf that came with the backers pack this year.
That is awesome.
And Dennis and I for Patreon.
Our tracks own Dennis?
Yeah, Dennis Robinson, patreon.com/Hivehead Studios. He and I, it's probably the most fun show I do that nobody listens to because it's for patrons, right? It's just for patrons. There's a handful of them, but we talk his con experiences, the setup of the booths, how he markets his book, how he sells. He tells the stories of the good, the bad, and ugly of all the different cons, the business of building the book, as well as the creativity and everything. It's just full transparency on everything that he does with it. So I like hosting that with him, and nobody listens. Cool. I think we get 5 downloads, but it's so much fun.
Well, I just came up with an idea for Be Awesome Together. Because our friend, Bob Magoo, who's still, Bob, if you're out there, you haven't given me a date. But but we should get Bob and him together because Bob is also very transparent about how he markets and what he makes and how he works cons. So that could be really informative for a lot of our creatives out there. I
think that's great.
And I know we got a theater group that we're going to put together. Sarah's going to make sure that happens.
Oh,
let's go.
And Anthony, you're already a part about that. BAT.
Yeah, I think that'd be great. Linktree review night. Bring your Linktree. We'll review you live on the show. Give you some tips and pointers on how to.
I'm all for that.
Yeah,
that'd be fantastic.
I'm a harsh mistress, though. So. Ask Charles. Not that way. Jeez, never mind. Can we move on now?
Kissing is not here tonight, Tyra.
They were so much fun.
It's our stream, guys.
Look, you can go find Tara at her Linktree/Tara Burton. And of course,
you can. Or you go to tyraburton.com.
Linktree, you could also sponsor us.
That's true. I mean, we need, you know, who know blah, 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 blah. Who really needs to sponsor us is Canva, because almost everything we do is created in Canva. Canva, hear me cry for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you'll notice my link tree is not a forest.
Yeah, no, it's 5 links.
That's probably what it should be. I just throw everything that I'm on. Like,
and none of them point to be awesome together.
I just realized that.
Wow.
I have a moment of it's on my website now, though.
That's cool.
I think.
I love the Be Awesome Together logo. Sorry, we should get out of here.
We should get out of here. All right, everybody. It's been amazing. Go out and be awesome in the world and have fun. And we'll see you next week with Mark Deal and Bobby Blackwell. That is not the button I wanted to hit.
I was going to say, what is this?
That was the hissing and kissing music.
That's right. I forgot I flipped back over to give you your sounds because that was the right button position, not the right button page.
I have sounds.
There we go.
There we go.
Go out, have fun. Thanks for coming out tonight. Tell your friends, tell everybody. It's too hard being awesome alone. Come on and be awesome together.
Join us.